so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to get signed on here and into the room. So if you're already in here, go ahead, drop me a note, say hello. And today we're going to start talking about holiday ads. So I know it's crazy because it's the middle of October, and first of all, I don't know where summer went, and I can't believe that it's the middle of October already. Second, it just seems crazy that we're already thinking about the holidays. So here's just kind of a quick preview of what's coming up. So this week we're gonna do, I just wanted to kind of touch on some basics, and I wanna let you guys know of a couple things you need to look out for over the next couple weeks. Ad cost is gonna start going up, so this is something you'll need to keep in mind. And there's some things you can start to do to keep your costs under control. So we're gonna touch base on some of that today. Next week, because there's so much that goes into advertising over the holidays, we're actually going to do a week or an hour-long webinar next week, so we can make sure to get everything covered. We're going to dive even more into Facebook ads over the holidays. I'm going to have lots of examples, and this applies to retail businesses and service-based businesses. So a lot of these tools and strategies I used when I had my retail store, and I've been able to use them for my service-based business, for social lab marketing. So, you know, retail, if you're in retail, you already know that this is a big time of year for you. This is where, you know, this kind of makes or breaks your year. A lot of your sales come from the holidays, so it's time to make a big push. If you're in the service-based business, if you're a coach or consultant, I think sometimes we tend to shy away from advertising on Facebook during the holidays because it seems like it's more of a retail product kind of time to advertise. So I see a lot of businesses, again, coaches, consultants, service-based businesses that don't advertise on Facebook as much during the holidays. And I think that that could be a big mistake. This is actually, could be a really great time of year for you to start promoting and pushing some of your services on Facebook. Last year was the first year that I advertised for social lab marketing on Facebook, and November and December ended up being my two best months for that year. So it can be a really great time to advertise. So what we're going to talk about today, it'll apply to you if you're retail or if you're product-based. So hopefully we've got some tips in here a little bit for everybody. And I'd love to know if you guys that are in the room, drop me a message in the chat box. I'd love to know if you're retail, so if you've got a product you're promoting and what that product is, or if you're a coach or consultant and what kind of business you have, if you're a life coach, health coach, anything like that, just so I kind of get an idea as we're going through this. But we're gonna talk about you know, getting your plan together and keeping an eye on your costs and ways to keep your costs down. And then, like I said, next week, so if you want to go ahead and mark your calendar for next week, we're going to do a full hour-long webinar just on ads for the holidays. So don't worry, you'll get all the details in your inbox. So I'm going to go ahead and pop over, and I'm going to share my screen with you guys, so let me know if you can see this okay. We're gonna go ahead and dive into this. Of course, as we go, if you've got questions or if anything isn't clear, drop that in the chat box. And at the end, if there's anything you wanna make sure that I cover on the bigger webinar next week, definitely leave me a little comment there. So it looks like we've got, Jennifer's got a medical spa, so she's in the retail/service, and then we've got women's apparel. All right, Lisa, so that was my retail store. I was women's apparel too. So let's go ahead and dive into this. All right, so the first thing you gotta do, and I know I might get a couple eye rolls on this, but you've got to create your promotional calendar. My first year of retail, I did not do this. I was just kind of winging everything, and you can imagine what a nightmare that turned into. But a couple reasons why you want to sit down, pull out your calendar, and do this. So you want to include all the upcoming holidays, promotions, emails you want to go out, events you're having in your store or at your business. You want to put this all on a calendar. You want to mark your start and your end date. And you want to do this for a couple reasons. One, you want to make sure that you've got, you know, you're not going to drop the ball on anything. And two, you want to make sure you give yourself enough time to promote these things. Something that happens a lot is I get a call from someone and they've got an event in 2 weeks and they want to promote it on Facebook, or they've got a webinar in 2 weeks and they want to promote it on Facebook. And that's just not enough time to pull a campaign together. So it's not going to work out. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time, right? That you're giving yourself enough time to get your ads together, to write your ad copy, to create your images. And if you're working with a designer, you know, that you've got time to get your images, your graphics back from them. And that you've got time to test and tweak your ads. So, you know, we all know, and especially if you've ran ads before, you know that sometimes the first campaign, the first set of ads you create may not be the winning ad. So you want to make sure you give yourself enough time to play around with your ads, so you've got ads that are up and working, and you also just want to make sure that you've got enough time on the calendar to get your promotions out. So this is also going to affect your budget. Another mistake that I see people make is that they've got an event to promote, or they just decide they're going to start running ads, and they don't really have a budget in mind. And this is where people get mixed up, because they start spending, you know, they say, okay, I'm going to spend $100 on these ads. I'm going to see what happens. And then before you know it, they've wasted $100. So you want to take a look at your calendar. You want to pull up your budget. So if you've got $300 a month to spend, or $3,000 a month to spend, and figure out where you want to spend your money. You know, what events and what promotions are going to be the most effective for you. So for me, my retail business, it was a women's boutique. So most people assume that Black Friday would be my biggest day, but it actually wasn't. My biggest day was always the day after Christmas. So I would start promoting leading up to Christmas and after Christmas. So this helped keep my ad costs down, but it was also effective for me because I knew that that's when my big push for the holidays was going to come, actually the day after. So you can, when you're pulling out your calendar, you don't have to advertise the whole time, especially in November and December, because your costs could be a little bit higher. But if you're working with a smaller budget, you want to make sure that you're spending your money around your big promotions or events. So it's going to help you to lay out that timeline, and then lay out your budget for each, so you're not spending too much, or you're not wasting money on ads that just aren't working. So like I mentioned, keeping an eye on cost is going to be really big over the next couple weeks. So something that starts to happen, and I think it's already starting to go up a touch, like a little bit, but ad cost always spikes during the holidays because you've got a lot of competition. So what happens is, you know, you've got all your big companies, your big businesses, retail, everybody's throwing a ton of money at their advertising from, you know, end of October through December. So just because people are spending more on their advertising, that doesn't mean more ads show up in the news feed. So you've got a lot more competition in the news feed, so you've got to spend more to get your ads in front of your audience. Now, this is going to affect some people more. It'll affect some industries, some niches more, and also just how well your ad campaigns are performing. So if you've got an ad campaign that you've got a lot of people that are engaging with it, that are converting, obviously that's going to help to keep your costs down. But if you've been running an ad campaign for a while, or you know what works, and you know on average you usually pay, you know, $2 per conversion or per email, over the holidays you might pay $4 or even $6, right? But some people, some advertisers last year reported they were paying double or triple what their normal cost was. So this is something to keep in mind too, as you're creating your budget and you're laying out your timeline. You know, if you are working with a small budget and you are going to spend a little bit more, where do you really want to focus that budget? So again, if you're running ads now, you might notice that the cost starts to creep up a little bit. And if you start a brand new campaign, you might see that your ad cost is going up. So it's just something to keep an eye on. So if, you know, you're used to paying a certain amount, and then all of a sudden over the next couple of weeks it's double or triple that, it's just because of the competition. And then the cost usually drops back down in January once all the excitement is over. All right, so one way to keep your costs down is targeting the people that already know and like and trust you. So this is your Facebook fans on your Facebook page. So if you've got a decent following on your Facebook page, or your email list and your website traffic. So if you've got a decent amount of website traffic, you can obviously target those people that have visited your site. This works really well for retail, e-commerce sites, but it's also great if you are in the service industry, because that way, if people have been reading your blog post and you want to offer a program or a download or something like that, you can always bring these people back. Of course, email list is huge, because you can follow up with your email list on Facebook. So we all know that your typical open rate's about 20 to 30%, right, for most people. So you're missing a huge chunk of your email list that just aren't seeing or opening your email. So following up with them on Facebook is really effective. So just a quick story for you guys from my retail days. The first event that I had for my store, I sent out emails. I had an email list. I'd only been in business a couple months, so my email list wasn't huge. I was not doing anything with Facebook at all at this point. So I had a customer event and had a sale. I had, some goodies to give away, all that good stuff. Well, I sent out 2 or 3 emails. The night of the event, nobody shows up, except for my mom and my 2 best friends that I had bribed with wine and cheese. And so that was it. So obviously that's frustrating, it's embarrassing, and you just feel like such a loser, that nobody came to your party. So what I did the next time is that is what got me into Facebook marketing. And so I started to market these events and promotions on Facebook to people that already knew me. And so I was able to get people into my store and to my event. So the next event that I had, you better believe I actually had people that showed up, and it wasn't just me and my mom and my 2 friends. We had a full house. People were buying gifts. They brought their friends, and it was a huge success. So from then on out, anytime I had an event in the store, I was promoting it on Facebook too. And so it's a really great way just to make sure you're staying in front of those people and they're not forgetting about it, especially if they aren't checking their email. So like I said, promoting events. So if you're only using your email list to reach out, you're missing out on a big opportunity here. So this is where custom audiences come into play. So that's your email list, your website traffic, and just promoting to your current fans. So if you don't have a lot of traffic, you don't have a big email list yet, that's okay. You can still promote to your Facebook fans and help get the word out that way. Driving sales. So if you are retail, for my retail people in here, so let's look at a couple retail people. We've got Jeff is a consultant to farm and food businesses. That sounds super cool. We got Laura. Hey, Laura, she's a copywriting coach. So we're about half and half in here right now. So if you're trying to drive sales to a retail site, focusing on the people that know you and trust you, that's going to help you drive more sales, right? Because they're familiar with your product. Maybe they've bought from you before, or maybe they just kind of had an eye on your product, right? They've been checking you out. They might buy, they're not sure. If you can stay in front of them, that's a really great way to bring people back. So again, people that already know you, it's going to cost less to get them to convert to a sale or to a conversion, and usually it's easier, right? Because they know you, they've got that relationship there. So something you can use, we're going to talk about this in a second, but I just wanted to go ahead and mention it, it's carousel ads, because now you can feature multiple products, and this is huge for my retail clients. This has been fantastic for retail. So I started it with my retail clients. We were seeing, 30 to 40% drop in costs when we use a carousel ad. So I've actually rolled this out to some of my clients that are service-based to help them build their list or promote webinars, and it's had this exact same effect. The cost is a lot less than a normal ad. So we're going to talk about those in just a second too. And of course, bringing back lost buyers is huge. So this is another way you can use custom audiences. So WCA, that's a website custom audience. These are the little pixels that you install on your website. I did a whole webinar just on custom audiences a couple weeks ago. So if you missed it, if you're feeling a little out of the loop, just pop over to YouTube. It's youtube.com/sociallabmarketing. There's the video there where I walk you through it. So you know that most people aren't going to buy the first time that they visit. So like I mentioned, I might come to your website poke around a little bit, see something that I like, but then maybe I get distracted, or maybe I pop over to another website, but for whatever reason, I don't buy. If you're targeting me on Facebook, the chances of bringing me back are higher, right? And I actually get really excited when I see those ads because, you know, if I'm checking out a pair of shoes or a cute top or a gift or something, and then I forget about it and I'm on Facebook one day and then it's like, oh, yeah, I wanted to buy those, or I meant to get that and I completely forgot about it. So it's really a great way to stay front of mind and make sure you're bringing people back. This is also a great way to convert people that maybe did it if you're promoting a webinar. Maybe people didn't sign up or they didn't sign up for your email list, but you've got another offer you want to put in front of them. So it's a great way to follow up with people that have checked you out, but for whatever reason they haven't converted. And of course, you can use custom audiences to create lookalike audiences. So one of the reasons that costs go up so high over the holidays is people are targeting based on interest. And so interest targeting is when you target pages, like you could target Tony Robbins' page, or you could target Zappos as a page. So everyone else tends to target those same pages because they're well known, they've got a huge following, an active following, so it makes sense to target those pages. But when you do that, you've got a lot more competition, so you usually see a higher cost. So a way to bring your costs down is to create lookalike audiences. And you can create lookalike audiences based on a couple different things. So you can, if you've got a list of your email subscribers, you can create a lookalike audience based off of your current email subscribers. So what happens, you upload your list to Facebook, it matches up the emails to the users from the email list to the users on Facebook. So you can target them on Facebook. So Facebook is able to pull all this data. They know what your list, do they tend to like this type of product? Do they tend to click on this type of link? Do they sign up for webinars? Facebook can track all this stuff, right? So it's gonna create a lookalike audience based off of the information you provide, and it's gonna create an audience that's similar to that. So Facebook's gonna handle all of the targeting for you. So instead of having to go out and target a bunch of different pages based on interest, you can create a lookalike audience. So if you've got a list of current customers, you can create a lookalike audience based on your current customers. So this works fantastic for retail clients because if they've got a big list of people that have bought their products, now we can target users that are similar to those. So instead of just guessing at what pages our people might like, Facebook's gonna handle all of that for us. So you can do it based off of your current customers, your current subscribers, your current fans. So if you're sitting there and you don't have an email list yet, or you don't have a lot of website traffic and you wanna start using a lookalike audience, if you've got a Facebook page and you've got some Facebook fans, you can create a lookalike audience based off of your current Facebook fans. So if you're just getting started and you want to use lookalike audiences, but you just don't have the list size yet, try creating one based off of your current fans. If you know that your fans, you know, you've built up a good community of fans. Again, you can do this based off of website traffic and if you've got a mobile app. So there's tons of ways you can do this. You don't have to get crazy here. So, you know, if you've just got, maybe just start with your email list or just start with your website traffic. Whatever group you feel like is a stronger group, a more engaged, active group, that's the one I would start with for your lookalike audiences. But these are usually really powerful targeting groups. They usually work really well, again, because Facebook is pulling all the data for you and it's matching up your list to people, other users that are similar on Facebook. So I love them. I think that they're awesome. So here's the carousel ads. So let's talk about carousel ads for a second. And if you join me on the webinar we do next Tuesday, I'm really gonna dive into carousel ads. I've got a lot of examples, both for retail and service-based businesses, but carousel ads are huge right now. And not a lot of people are using them, but they work so well. And they work so well for a couple of different reasons. So instead of just having your one image, your one ad that you throw up on Facebook, now you can feature up to 5 products or 5 images. So obviously if you're retail, this is huge for you because now you can feature up to 5 of your products, right? So maybe you've got a list of your 5 best-selling products. You can feature those in an ad, when I see your ad on Facebook, I can click on the one that I'm most interested in, right? So it's giving me control to pick what I'm interested in, which link I want to go to. So it's really putting the control back on the user. So they work really, really well. And then we'll also rotate your images. So if people are clicking on one product over another product, it'll be the first image listed, which is really, really cool. Now, if you are a coach or consultant and you're wondering how you can use these, it's pretty cool. So you can use this to drive traffic to different blog posts. If you've got different blog posts, you can also use it to tell a story. And I've got some awesome examples that I'm going to share next week. But you can use this to tell a story. So it's really cool when you do this. So you can call out different bullet points or different things you're going to go over in your webinar, and you can use each block to cover a different idea or topic. But they're really cool. So I definitely recommend playing around with these, especially if you're going to be advertising at the holidays, just because, again, the cost is so far has been a lot lower with these. And I think part of the reason is I don't see a ton of them in my news feed. And so the ones that we're using are working really, really well. So retail and for list building and webinar promotion. But you can also use this for an event. So if you've got really cool event pictures, you can use, you know, you can feature up to 5 different images for your event. So check out carousel ads, and the cool thing about carousel ads is that you can also use them on Instagram. So if you missed the webinar last week, we talked about Instagram ads, and I've just started playing around with these with some clients and really excited with what we're seeing so far. But Instagram, if you've got a brand, if you're really active on Instagram, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the cost over the holidays because it's such a new platform. But right now we're seeing really low cost because it's so new and not that many people are using it. So it might be worth it to test out Instagram ads if that's where you think your audience might be and if you're already using Instagram. So you've got a couple different options for Instagram ads. You just got your regular Instagram post that looks normal, and then you can also do a carousel ad on Instagram so people are able to slide through those images so they can scroll through and look at your featured products. So again, it's engaging users, it's giving them control to click on what they want to see, right? And I love that you can use these on Instagram as well. So Instagram, you actually cannot create an ad for website conversions, but what you can do is drive traffic to your website. So if you've got a page where you want to send people or you want to send them to a product page, this is a great way to showcase your products, and now people can actually click through. So if you use Instagram, you know, before it was a pain, you couldn't actually like click on links, and you'd have to like add them in your bio and tell people where to go, and it's just, you know, it wasn't easy. But now you've got your call to action button, you've got your description, people can click straight from Instagram and go to your page. So, you know, this might be something that's worth testing out and trying, especially if you're retail and you want to get some more traffic to your site over the holidays. I would definitely give it a go, but just make sure you keep an eye, you know, on your ad cost. Now, one thing you want to make sure, and I feel like I say this all the time, but you just want to keep an eye on your cost per conversion over the holidays. You don't want to spend too much on ineffective ads. And it's going to be a little bit harder to tell, right? Because your cost might be higher than it normally would. So if it's a little bit higher, but your ads are converting and it looks like you're getting engagement and people are clicking on your ad, it's probably okay to let it run. But, you know, if you've spent $20, $30 and you haven't had a single sign up, you probably need to turn those ads off. So I always recommend if an ad isn't converting, you want to stop it. So if you need to give your ad 24, 48 hours, see what happens. And after 48 hours, if you're not getting anything on your ad, go ahead and stop it and then change it up. So over the holidays, it's going to be even more important to keep an eye on your numbers and on what you're paying per conversion. Again, because you've got all that competition and your cost is going to be a lot higher. So it may not be as clear, you know, if your ads are working. So just keep that in mind. And you know, it really is about testing and tweaking things, and make sure you focus on your email list and your current subscribers, your fans, your website traffic. That's usually the best place to start when you're advertising over the holidays. Make sure you're crafting messaging that's relevant to your audience, and that you're coming up with, you know, with ads that are gonna stand out in the newsfeed, again, because you've got so much competition. So you've got to have really cool images, really interesting images, especially if you're going to do Instagram ads. And then you want to make sure that your copy speaks to your audience. And it looks like we've got a copywriting coach in here, Laura. So if you need help with your copywriting, you know, it's worth it to work with someone that can help you hone in on that message, because especially now it's going to be even more important that your copy's super clear, so people know exactly what you have to offer. So that's it for this week. We've got a couple minutes left if you guys have any quick questions. Jennifer, I don't send out my slides, but the replay will be posted to YouTube. So if you want to go back and catch it on YouTube, it should be up as soon as this is over. So you can just go to youtube.com/social lab marketing and you can get it there. Next week though, when we do the bigger webinar, I'll probably have some handouts for you guys, because we're going to go over a lot more and we're really going to touch base on some of this other stuff. We're going to dive a little bit deeper. So Lisa asked for more information on carousel ads, so that's something we're definitely going to cover next week. Lisa, I will have lots of examples, and so your women's apparel, I will have some retail examples for you, so make sure you pop back over next week and I'll have lots of examples. Hopefully I'll also have some Instagram examples from Instagram ads. We just started those late last week, so we're still playing and tweaking with those, so hopefully I'll have some good examples from Instagram ads that I can share with you guys next week too. So if we don't, do we have any other questions? I'll give you guys another minute or two if you have any other questions. Again, I know advertising on Facebook at the holidays, just keep in mind that you've got a lot of competition. Your costs might be a little bit higher. So just be patient and just keep that in mind as you're promoting your events over the next couple weeks. So that's it for this week, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. And we'll be back next Tuesday. And again, next Tuesday, we're really going to dive into the specifics of retail ads. So keep an eye on your inbox. I'll send out all the information on Tuesday. And thank you guys so much. I hope you have an awesome week, and I will see you next time.